weren't allowed to go underground for it. So I was like, okay, just do what you need to do. When the man came and he drilled a hole and he actually knocked my power.
This sounds like a really dodgy start to a porno.
He came with his tool belt.
He drilled a
Says,
hole.
drill the hole, knock the power out. I was like, oh no.
Hello and welcome to the Biofitness Podcast. Biofit with us podcast. Jesus, 100 episodes in and still can't get it right.
Fucking
And he
happy
wanted to get
100.
rid of it. The
Happy
welcome.
hundo.
Happy hundo. What started with a conversation was actually Gary who started with a conversation going, I'm thinking about doing this thing, would you be keen, has evolved to the top. What percentage of podcasts are we?
Are we top? Are we no top? Surely we're top 1% by this point, eh?
Joe Rogan. Well, actually, Joe Rogan, at the rate that he is like depreciating and the rate that we are appreciating, like we're probably going to meet him at some point. Well, that's a good thing and a bad thing. Don't know.
Yeah, I
We
think
could do a crossover.
people are now coming to realise that Joe Rogan talks some amount of shite and we just talk some amount of sense.
I do wonder, like, if people actually listen to Joe Rogan the same way that they did like 10 years ago. Do you listen to him at all?
Nah, I
No.
just don't get time for the guy.
I used to really like anybody used to hang on to a lot of what he said, but then like most of what's happening, you can just like you can do a quick Google search and realise it's a lot of shite, and a lot of the people he has on is a bit like that boy Stephen Bartlett, where it's just like he lets them open their mouth and doesn't question anything that they're saying. And you're like, that's madness.
Yeah, dangerous.
Yeah.
Is that the guy that does the Diary of a CEO or
Yeah,
something?
that's that fucking.
That's gone
toss-up.
downhill as well because a lot of people obviously realise it was a load of shite what he's been doing.
Yeah, that's because essentially it's letting people that come on and talk about like the body type diet and stuff like that and not question them, and then transpires like fucking that he's got shares in Huel and like everything else. I'm not saying that. I'll tell you what, actually, I'm going to just say it the way it is. You can tell that somebody's corrupt if they're sponsoring Huel, because I don't know if you've ever tasted it. It tastes like donkey dick. It is awful.
I'm more
I've
worried
never heard.
about how you know what donkey dick tastes like.
Mate, just because I've never been to the Sahara Desert doesn't mean I can't think about what that actually like feels like. It's the same with donkey dick, mate. I haven't
So
quite
that's
been there.
your Roman Empire's donkey dick. We've now discovered it, Gary.
Yes.
Do you know,
Mine's
see,
Princess Diana, but yours is donkey dick.
another one that pops into my head quite regularly is why do men have nipples?
Yeah. Is that no because we're all born female? We're all female at some point, and then I don't know.
Well, tell you what, we're 100 episodes in, and this is where we become woke. Gary's all of a sudden going, "No, we're all females at some point."
I don't know. No, because surely the sperm in itself is male or female. I don't know.
But a bunch of
A good
PDs.
Google would tell us why we have nipples.
Do you know
Because we
what?
fact check on this one.
Let's ask Joe Rogan.
We'll get Joe Rogan on as a guest, and we'll ask him.
Anyway, happy hundo, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us on this fucking ride.
Putting up with us.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, we started as Just Fit with Fuzz. We have now rebranded to Biofit with Fuzz. We've been through a lot in the last couple of years. This all came about after Kyle, me and you sat down for a chat for when we started speaking about my journey for the photo shoot, if you remember right. And I was like, do you know what? I really fucking enjoyed that. I think I was just using it as an excuse to talk to my pal every week. And then it's transpired into this.
Now we've got Shannon.
Now we've got free pals. We're fucking excellent.
I came along once I heard there was friendship and you needed diversity because two men having a podcast just doesn't go down well in this economy anymore.
Especially when we try and talk about being female at some point and the menstrual cycle.
I'm wondering why you have nipples.
We've like got a 2-for-1. We've got an autistic female on. Like we are ticking so many boxes.
All the boxes. Like I'm covering all aspects here.
Between Gary saying that like we're all female at some point and being part of the LGBTQI thing, and Shannon being autistic and female, man, we are doing so well.
It's all inclusive.
What do you bring? Science.
Science.
Yeah. Guy was the science. Man, we need to get you a lab coat for the next episode.
Do you know what? I've held on to my Edinburgh Napier Uni sport and exercise scientist top, mate. I'm like holding on to it. Like, I'll tell you what, like back in the day, those things didn't actually. I get a top nowadays and you pay, what, 60 quid for it, and like it's fucking goes through the
Doesn't
wash twice and
last.
it's unusable. That thing has been there since 2013 and is still holding firm.
Yeah, I've still got my college top as well for when I was 18, 19. My Glasgow. What was the name of the college again? Central
Central
College of
College.
Commerce.
Oh man, I loved the building beside it. It was, what was it called again? Was it, oh, the college beside us? Can't remember what it was called. But the slogan on it was "Changing lives, shaping futures." I used to get up every day and I would walk from the bus going, "Changing lives, shaping
Oh,
futures."
the big one, the big, massive, tall building.
Yeah, I want to call it
Was it
Met.
the Metropolitan?
Yeah, Metropolitan. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, changing
Aye,
lives, shaping
okay.
futures.
That's the one that now says people make Glasgow on it.
It does. Man, they've always had good slogans. Like, you need to get speaking to them. They had good slogans before ChatGPT was a thing.
100%. Right, we're going to talk about, because obviously 100 episodes deep, and collectively, no, not even collectively, individually, over the last however many years we've been coaching. Shannon's it been 2, 3 years for you?
Free now.
Three.
2023, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
2023. Yeah.
So
2023.
Kyle, you're bordering on 15 years, and then I qualified 10 years ago, but I did take a 5 to 6 year hiatus to go live abroad. But over the time that we have been coaching, each of us has coached over 100 people individually. I would even say collectively we're looking close to the thousands, which in and of itself is pretty fucking impressive for three people. And we just wanted to talk about things that we've learned from the beginning of time to now after coaching hundreds, if not thousands, of people. And I think this is a really important one to talk about as well because it's going to highlight how much we've grown as not only coaches but as people as well. Because you see on social media, people are just set in their ways. They are in their lane and they do not want to listen to any rhyme nor reason that does not agree with their thoughts or opinions. And I think it can be quite jailbait. It can be a wee bit dangerous, especially when you've got a certain demographic that is kind of looking up to you or wanting to emulate you. So I think let's go into this topic. Did that make sense what I was saying? By the way, 'cause
You're using big fancy words,
I
sir.
know I'm like fucking 100
Yeah.
episodes deep. I'm now learning how to speak English. It's because I've had a good sleep the last 2 nights.
I've had a terrible night's sleep, mate, but we're not going to go into you.
I feel like both of you just do Uno reverse on each other each week.
Yeah, 100%.
Get some
Plus,
tea tree oil.
it's fine. I've got 700 grams of carbs to consume today, so if I'm not sleeping after that, then look, I give up. But
Not
um,
restricting yourself.
I think some important points to throw out there is the average life cycle of a personal trainer, qualified personal trainer, is between 6 and 9 months. So I think it's 90% of PTs don't make it past the first 9 months. If you do, then you're in the top percentage. It's a very difficult game to stay on top of. So I think kudos to you guys. There's a reason that you are here in the first place. I think looking at the start part of, and I can understand why, because PT courses are a lot shite. College and uni is also a lot of shite. I'm not saying it was completely useless, but for 6 years of Gary, you done 4 at college with us, and then I went on to do an extra year and a half at uni after that. Being honest, there's not a great deal that I learned through that. I'm not saying there was nothing, but in terms of the most positive thing that I took from it is learning how to think critically, in terms of, like, you weren't allowed to say something without actually being able to justify it. Fucking Ian Houston in our college lecture was like, if you're going to identify something, you need to identify and justify. I was going home thinking identify, justify, identify, justify. So you weren't just allowed to say something, and he was the first person that used to grill me when I used to talk about, like, what is the perfect body, and he was like, define what perfect is. And I was like, yeah, it would question you on everything. So I think a lot of it, in terms of like the nonsense I learned, not a lot, but in terms of being able to think critically and teach me how to do that, a lot there. Shannon, you've had your hand up for a while. Go on.
I'm confused by your college like system. So you do college and uni, or is it all one?
No, it's college and uni. They're two separate things. Are different.
So over here in Ireland, as far as I'm aware, college, it's a bit like America where technically like college is like a one all-encompassing, you can do any level of education up there to like a master's and PhD. Whereas in Scotland, as far as like I've not lived there for a while, but at the time, as far as I'm aware, it's like college up to a certain level of education, and then uni is the level above that where you start to do degrees and masters and PhDs and stuff.
At college, you can get a diploma, but uni's where you get your degrees and your doctorates and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
So basically, college is just a bit of further education. Uni's where the big stuff happens, essentially. You can do a lot with your college qualifications, though, if you go into certain fields and whatever. But yeah, uni's where you go to get the next kind of level. But even so, like Kyle, you know this yourself. You could go 2 years, 3 years, 4 years in uni and still come out with no job opportunities, all the knowledge in the world about your specific niche or specific field, and you still can't find a fucking job.
Mate,
So it's mental.
Mate, I'll tell you exactly because I remember reading it 2013 when I was there. Newspaper article in Edinburgh at the time came out was the biggest rate of unemployment 6 months after qualifying was sport and exercise science at the time. And I can understand why, because they didn't coach you how to actually be a better coach in terms of like, see if you had Linda who's just come off the sofa, like seeing like they taught you how to squat, right? But at the same time, like, see if Linda wasn't able to do a perfect textbook squat, like there was no other sort of this is how you deal with that. It's a case of if you try and get her to move her hips back and all of a sudden she can't get her hips any further down than like a 3/4 squat. It was a case where you do what most PTs do. You either try and throw more weight in the bar and hopefully that puts her down, or you go, we're just not going to do that. It's funny because I remember we didn't learn anything really about nutrition. We didn't learn anything. I'm not saying anything, but it was very like there wasn't a lot of specifics. But we're in lab coats with those little sensors that you have on you in like FIFA and stuff like that for the game animations. And we're looking at force and we're looking at the perfect penalty. Like what speed does a ball need to go past like the goals to be able to be a perfect penalty? And look, for any football fans listen, a perfect penalty does exist. If you hit the ball at the time, I think it was at 28 kilometres an hour into a corner, it's physically impossible for a goalkeeper to save. Hence the reason that football players, if they are accurate, they're always better going to a corner than down the middle, because if they back themselves, technically the keeper shouldn't be able to save it. I learned that. Am I ever going to use that again? Absolutely not. It's a bit like Shannon, you're doing your course right now. It's like left atrium and right ventricle of the heart. Qualified 16 years ago, still have never fucking used that in my life. It's they overdo a lot of things and underdo a lot of the other things. For me, I was overqualified to essentially coach somebody who was in a gym, but underqualified to teach somebody that was at like Real Madrid. Couldn't do it. And that's where it kind of leaves you, unless you're willing to do another 5 years of education. And ironically, the thing is, I know I'm going off on a bit of tangent here, but I know the thing is, see if you go and get a PhD, your best opportunity is to go as part of a football team, and you're getting 25 grand to 30 grand a year to be a sport and exercise scientist at Real Madrid. I think at the time, Man City was the job I was looking at. Not that I was applying for it, but I was looking at going just what is the pay rate. It was 20 grand, it was back in 2015, so it's probably like inflation right now, 40 grand, but it was 20 grand at the time. 20 grand for 20 hours a week, but you were then having to do all the travelling and all that with sport and exercise science. I'm like, fuck that for a laugh. Like,
yeah, 100%, man. It's confusing. Like further in higher education, it's confusing, and they've changed it all now as well. Like I don't know what they call their GCSEs or their fucking exams and shit now. So I don't know, man. But we are where we are because of the decisions that we've made, and the growing that we have did. So shall we talk about some shit that we've learned after coaching hundreds of people?
I'm happy to go. Who wants to go first?
I don't mind. I don't mind diving in.
You dive in.
We won't spend too long on each topic, so we can try and rattle out as many as we possibly can in the next 30 minutes or so. One of the main things that I've come away from coaching people over the last 10 plus years is, for me, this is a personal thing, but you might relate as well, is boundaries. I found that boundaries are essential, and without them, like we it's just a one-way ticket to fucking burnout. Back at the start when I came into coaching, I was excited. I was a young pup. I was like, fucking let's go, and I was the always available coach. And essentially, I ran myself into the ground. Don't get me wrong, I built a good business, I built a good in-person one-to-one business. This was before online coaching was really a thing. There was a few people dabbling in it, but it wasn't really a thing. I had no boundaries. I was available 24/7, and I was just fucked, like absolutely fucked. So for me to grow as a coach and as a person, as a family man, as a business owner, uh, I set boundaries. And when I came back from living abroad and get back into coaching, I said that boundaries was going to be my number one thing to set. The guilt that comes with boundaries, though, was very hard to accept at first. But now the understanding of why I need them far outweighs the guilt that I felt when I get back into coaching, if that makes sense. But yeah, the always available coach is not going to last long in this industry, let me tell you that.
It's funny you said that, maybe. I think, Shannon, you were just started with us at this time when we done a bit of a brand overhaul, and we put feedback to it. We got feedback from pretty much all of our clients, anonymous feedback. One of the things that constantly came up was the fact that I put clients ahead of myself all the time. And I was like, the guy who was doing it, the brand thing, went, I just want to bring to your attention, like, that's not a good thing. He's like, if you're ever wanting to like grow the business or like not be consumed by it, like, you putting all of your clients ahead of yourself is not a good thing whatsoever. So yeah, I agree with Gary 100%. And actually, one of the things that kind of leads on from that is I used to be, I thought with Kira on this, I used to be the person that probably wanted the result more than the person. Still am to a large extent. It frustrates because I have conversations with you guys on a weekly basis where we're talking about a client and we're like, this is a situation they're in. How do we, in between the three of us, we try and come up with solutions? And then sometimes it genuinely comes down to, it's the most frustrating thing, going, you can't willpower the result for the client. You can't drag them through it. Like, there is a barrier there that they are unwilling to get by. And it leads me on to my biggest lesson is accountability and ownership are two different things, and most people get them intertwined. When somebody comes in and goes, I want accountability, I need accountability, I need accountability, my first questions are, what does accountability look like? Because I'll give you an example of where accountability and ownership get mixed up. I had a girl during lockdown that she messaged me and she's like, I need you to message me every night to guilt me into going to the gym. And I'm like, I'm not messaging you every night to guilt you into going to the gym. And I was like, I'll tell you my reasons why. One, why do you need to be guilted into going to the gym in the first place? Why don't you trust yourself to do it? We can deal with that problem first, because if you're feeling there's big issues you get into, let's deal with them so it doesn't feel like you're white knuckling it. But the second thing is, because I've learned this from experience, see if I message you every single night, see the first night that I don't message you and you don't go, that then becomes that's a me, and you can externalise that as Kyle didn't text me, so that's a me issue. So I think in terms of accountability, very much here, if you want a result, I'm very much a guy. We are very much a people. But in terms of like the ownership part of it, like, you need to meet halfway. You can't go off the rails for 3 weeks, ignore everything everybody's said to you, not come with any of your problems, and then go pointing the finger and going, that was somebody else's fault. Like, ownership needs to be taken. And I think for me, that's the biggest learning lesson I've learned. Accountability and ownership are two different things. They're both needed, but like, it's a two-way process.
Fucking preach.
I have to disagree with Gary for the boundaries thing, because I've been taught from the start boundaries, because obviously boss man here didn't have any. So I learned very early on. I was like, I don't actually have to break any boundaries. Like, I've had my boundaries set from day one with him.
So
Being
what you
like,
disagreeing with me on?
no, but I'm disagreeing that I've never had that experience, in the sense that, like, I've never had to set boundaries because they were always already there for me.
Yeah. So you've had Kyle's experience and mistakes, to learn from, going in your favor, which is massive. And I would push that on anybody, not even other coaches, but clients as well. Like, yous also have to have boundaries, not only with other people, but with your fucking selves as well. If you really want to live a more fulfilling life and see the results that you want to see, boundaries are fucking essential. I cannot stress that enough. Shannon, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to cut across you there. On you go.
No, I was just saying that like I'm the opposite. I've never had that experience because I've never had to like maybe
Yeah.
one or two where it's kind of like I really, really, really want to help this person and I'm being a bit too pushy, trying to help them almost. But then Kai would be like, you can't want
Mhm.
it for them, like so it kind of ties into the two actually.
Yeah.
Um, I would say the biggest thing I've learned, and it's probably in the last couple of months, is not all my clients are going to think the way I think because I think in a certain way because again I'm autistic and I only figured this out. 2025 was wild. But people used to always be like, oh, I just need to be as disciplined as you and this, that, and the other. I'm like, I'm not that disciplined. I just have structures and routines and this is what like keeps me going. I don't understand why you can't go with structures and routines. It's because we have completely different mindsets. And that's a-okay.
Mhm.
I remember probably what a year and a half ago we sat down and had a conversation about styles of coaching people, and like probably one of the biggest things that I've had to do as well is the way that I coach somebody isn't the way, like I need to sometimes say things in a way that like I wouldn't particularly perceive it well, but I know it's better for them. So, like, for instance, when it came to Shannon, I was chatting about, like, Shannon at times needs things put as a shit's eye image where you need the positive thing and then you need the negative thing and then you need the positive thing. I was like, but Shannon, if you look at all of your clients, like people will think differently, and we're like, we kind of looked at like the scarf model and we're looking at like there's some people who need this rather than that. There's some people who just need to be spoke to directly, and I think for you the coaching game is looking at that, and like that's something that I've learned over time. To be honest, the first 5 years of coaching for most people is actually figuring all this stuff out, and it's a really difficult one to do because, like, realistically, like, we all just want to, like, we have got results through health and fitness, and it's like, right, if you just do this and we do this, and like, you'll get results. It is simple, but it's not easy. The complexity is how people perceive things and how you're perceived. But the way that like Gary might perceive things would be completely different to the way that I might perceive things. The way you would coach Gary might be completely different to the way that like you coach me. Like Gary at times might appreciate a bit of bluntness, whereas like I might appreciate it like put in a constructive way. Being honest, that's probably not the case, but like it's just an example of the way things look. So yeah, I'm very much behind all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And just kind of echoing what you said as well, Kyle, about like we can we can be the most invested coach in the world, and I can guarantee you that the three of us, when anybody comes on board, we are fully invested in you. We're fully invested in your progress, and we want nothing but the fucking best for you. But we cannot do the reps for you. We cannot prep your meals for you. We cannot work on your mindset for you. We can show you the doors. You have to be the one to walk through those doors, and that's something that was very hard for me to accept at first because I would get frustrated and I would blame myself for my clients not getting results. What am I doing wrong? Is there more that I could do? When in reality, I've done everything that I possibly can. It's just been the client or the individual that has just not put the work and it's not put the reps in. So that was a big realization for me as well. The you you as a client, as a person, you have to want to change. Just because you're handing money over to a coach, it doesn't then mean that all your answers, all your prayers are answered. You still have to work hard. Handing over money is just the fucking start of it. Like that does not mean that you're automatically then just going to see the results that you want to see. And another realization, and it kind of ties into what I was talking about there, is I've also come to realize that it's rarely about food or training. Most of the struggles that we deal with on a daily and a weekly basis, it's more environmental, it's more psychological, it's more emotional. It's not just informational. There is a fuck ton of information out there. Yeah, I know some of it can. What's the word I'm looking for when they go against each other?
Conflict.
Mhm.
Conflict, yeah, loads of conflicting information out there. Sorry, my brain is even though I've had 2 nights of good sleep, my
Rub it in again,
fucking
mate. One more time for the people at the
my
back.
fucking brain. Yeah, loads of conflicting information out there, but there is information out there for the issue that you're maybe looking for the problem that you're wanting to solve. There is information there. It's more down to the emotional state or your surroundings, the people that you're surrounded by, the mess that your house is in, the shit that you have sitting on the kitchen counter that you don't want to, you don't want to get tucked into crisps. So why the fuck are they sitting out? And then the psychological side of things as well. So, yeah, at the start, like I would be overcomplicating it because of this, because I thought it was all just down to food and training. So the overcomplication of things very, very early on, with trying to build the best program for that person, trying to give them the best macros and the best calorie target, when in reality they just needed somebody to tell them to put the crisps in the cupboard.
Agreed. It baffles me how often people like. I suppose it probably tells you enough when people think that every single Monday's got to be a new Monday for them, where they change absolutely nothing, because it is simple, but it's not easy. And I think that's the thing. I'm not going to lie, as a coach, it frustrates me when people are like, "Oh, I'm going to do it myself," and I'm like, "How's that worked out for you so far?" I think sometimes it's like, of course, in a large extent, you can look at it and go from their perspective, or like people listening to this can go, well, of course, because you're financially incentivized to be a coach, of course, you're going to want people on board in terms of coaching. The problem is statistics would actually say that like most people who do things for themselves are 90% and upwards fail, which is a really bad statistic in terms of like that's not something like the reason I got into this is because it changed my life and I know what it can do. Frustrates the fucking life out of me when I watch somebody continually doing the same thing all of the time. And when it comes down to cost, I'm like, is it the cost or the is it the finances or the cost? Is it the cost? Like, what exactly is it? Is like, because if you stand still, there's a cost to that as well. And you trying every Monday is probably the thing that is the most frustrating. So I think when it comes to, you're right, it is simple. It is super simple. And like, see when people are like, oh, I'm going to try it myself because I've got a grasp of what to do. You've always known what to do. It was never a case of knowing what to do. Yes, there's systems and whatever. The problem is you can't cope when life gets stressful. You can't cope when like hurdles come in. So like that's the big issue that I think when it comes to like anybody can have a clean run of it when the sun is shining in the sky and there's no problems. But see when it's like dark, it's cold, it's windy, it's rainy, it's your family's stressed, you've been asked to do things you don't normally do, like your energy's low, you're tired, like those type of things, that's where ultimately you need better systems and you need to understand how to manipulate things. So I agree, it's overcomplicating it. I'm very guilty of that at the start. I would be, right, it's this exact meal plan and these exact calories and you need to stay to this and this is your gym sessions. If you don't get it done one week, you can make up for it the next week. I'm like, if you don't get it done one week, there's probably a chance that the reason you didn't get it done one week, that problem's not solved for the next week. So realistically, there's no point in catching up. Let's address whether 3 gym sessions a week's doable for you. Like, that's probably the thing that I would be looking at rather than going, sure, catch up on it.
Yeah, 100%. Shannon, you got anything?
I've gone blank there and I had one this whole time when I was like, I'm going to hold my tongue because I have this conversation that I want to bring up then. And the minute you said, I'm like, what?
Keep thinking about it because I've got
Keep
another
thinking
one as
because I
well.
had it the whole time and I was like, right, this is going to lead into this. This is
Yeah,
great. And now it's gone.
I've got another one. Massive realization for me is that client retention is more important than client acquisition. I
You with your big words.
Yeah, I know. I'm fucking. I can think of the big words, but I can't think of the simple words that Kyle's fucking keeping me right away. But yeah, for me, client retention is a lot more important than client acquisition. Uh, when I see a coach, right, who's been in the game for a year, 2 years, and they say I've coached 500 people in the last 2 years, I've coached 1,000 people this year. For me, that is red flag central immediately. How the fuck are you coaching thousands of people in such a short space of time? That to me says that you're not working hard enough for those clients. You don't really care for those clients. You just care about getting as many people in the door as possible to make as much money as possible. If you can keep a hold of your clients for a year, 18 months, 2 years plus, that shows that you are doing the work that the clients are looking for. That shows that you are working with that client to meet them where they're at and get the results that they're after. There's a reason why I've had the same 10 to 12 clients that have been with me for the last year and a half to 2 years. When Freddie was born, I essentially closed my doors. I didn't bring any new clients, maybe one or two here and there, right? But I've had the same 10 to 12 clients in the last year to 2 years. And there's a fucking reason for that. It's because I'm fully invested in their journey. They're fully invested in me. And we've been working together very, very closely over that period of time. I could have opened my doors and been like, fucking, let's just bring as many people in as I can to make as much money as possible. Morally, it doesn't sit right with me. Doesn't like that's doesn't align with my values, but it's allowed me to then invest more time and effort into the clients that do trust me and do put the faith in me. If you can work consistently with, let's say, 50 people in a year and get every single one of them a result, in my opinion, that shows that you're more of a trustworthy coach and you know what the fuck you're doing, over somebody that's worked with 1,000 people and then they use the same 3 people to promote their business in the same time. Just my opinion. But it is a big realization. I care more about retention than bringing in new clients all the time.
I
I
would
have
agree.
go Shannon, you on you go.
I love when you bring someone in. It's really nice, it's refreshing,
Mhm.
and it's like, oh, something new and shiny. But there's nothing better than getting someone from A to B, and then they're like, but what if I go to C now? And you're like, oh, they're
Let's
thinking
go.
further than before. But you know what I struggle with? When you eventually get them from A, B, C, D, E, and eventually they do go, and I'm like, my heart breaks every time a client leaves, not because I'm going to lose
Yeah.
money, but because I'm like, oh no, I've lost my friend now. And Kyle keep having to remind me they're clients, not your friends. But I'm like, but that's how close our relationship gets in this. And I'm like, oh, I find it so hard every time we have a breakup, even though I talk to them all the time anyway. Just not as one-to-one coaching, but it still breaks my heart. I'm just, I'm soft, like.
I don't think there's any issue with having a good relationship with your clients. If anything, I've blurred that relationship probably more times than I care
Yeah.
to tell you, and I actually have little to no regrets for that, except one guy who decided they wanted to be my training partner when I was a PT, and he ended up just like turning up to sessions, and his sessions became and he was like almost refusing to pay for them. I'm like, mate, I don't want a training partner. Like, you're a client, and like it's yeah, with that one rogue example out the way, I think that I agree and disagree to both points in the sense that I think broadly speaking, Gary 100% right. However, I would say I've had some. It depends what people come on board for in the first place, because I have seen plenty of PTs with people that have coached for years, and in terms of results, there's fucking none to show for it, and they've just held on for friendship for 3 or 4 years. I think there is a large extent where sometimes you can gatekeep that, where it's like, if you are someone who takes on people, and let's say you work in a private studio and like you've got clients that stay with you for 3 or 4 years, and you don't actually ever teach them the skills to be able to go out in the open and do things, I would argue you're not doing your job in the first place. And a lot of the reasons that PTs keep themselves stuck is because they charge too cheap, they don't ever teach them the skills, and realistically they can almost keep them to the point where it's like, well, it's nice and comfortable in here, like we never need to go outside that. But with that said, I have coached plenty of clients where, regardless of how much you try and coach them into that, like they're very much a case where they're never going to get to that point where it's just like one of my biggest frustrations is I used to have a client where I would program every session down to the T, and she used to come in and go, no, I don't want to do that today. Don't want to do that today. I want to do this. And she'd spend half the session on her phone. She would be the type that would fight you every week to pay. She wanted everything super cheap. And I ended up going, I don't know why I'm fucking bothering. I literally just used to go, and I've no shame in saying it, I used to just go, she's coming in, and I'm just going to let her do what I want, and I'm babysitting her. And to be fair, that's what happened for about 6 months to a year. And I used to have conversation going, what are you wanting from this? And I just want to come in and move. And I'm like, well, cool, that's what you're getting. Because that's like literally what she wanted. My big thing is, and actually that's partly the reason I got out of one-to-one coaching in terms of personal training, is because I did find there was a higher percentage of people who wanted that than online. I do miss a lot of it, and I do think there are results you can get with it, don't get me wrong on that. My big thing is, from Shannon, your point of view, when you see somebody and it's like they come along and they've like got great results and you get devastated when they leave, I'm almost the opposite. I'm like, see, when I've seen somebody get great results and they're in a place where they've done all these things, I'm like, yes, fuck yes, you go, and I'm buzzing to see you go and thrive. What gets to me is when somebody's like 2 months in and go, oh, I think I know what to do now. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. Like you have literally run the first 2K of like a marathon and you think you know what to do. Things are going to get harder, life is whatever. You've been struggling for years and what you're going to go do your own thing. How do you think that's going to work out for you? That's what frustrates me, and it's a very different way in terms of where somebody, because health and fitness isn't something you ever finish. I've said this to clients who've left before. I'm like, from a selfish point of view, I would love to coach you until the end of time, because these fitness goals will constantly go and we go deeper and deeper and deeper into it. I've had people that are currently coached for 6 years, and I'm going, you can see a line of things that they have done. But I would also hate to think that I've kept somebody for 3 or 4 years who's going through the same, I'm trying to lose 5 or 10 kilos and never actually got it. At that point, there's a conversation which I've had with people going, look, this is now our 15th time of trying this between us. It's not happening. I don't want to keep taking your money for nothing. So we're putting a deadline on it. It's happening in the next 3 months, or it's not happening at all. And a lot of time, there is a case of like, you're going to churn through people, and that's okay. My big thing is, do people who come in leave better? And whatever that definition is, and to be clear on this, just for any ambiguity, it doesn't need to be looking better, and this is the thing, it doesn't need to be looking better in your clothes, because not everybody comes on board for that, and this is one of the things that I want to touch on. Whilst the business for me right now is getting people looking better in the skin, there's so many different reasons people come to train, and people sometimes who go to train in the gym and want somebody, and there's nothing wrong with it. My point is, if you want to go to a gym and train with somebody and want a PT and that's what's there for you, absolutely crack on. If that's success, grand, keep at it. Like that, there's no issue with that. But in terms of what I feel fulfilled doing, when I see somebody move from A to B to C to D to all the way through and like continue to challenge himself, very much here for that.
Yeah, love it. And I love the fact that there is that wee bit of back and forward and disagreement and agreement and disagreement on the same points. Yeah, I completely agree with everything that you said as well. I think I put it across very, very poorly. But I'm sure you know what I was getting at. So yeah, thanks for clearing it up, Kyle. Shannon, have you got your thing yet?
No, it's not coming back. So it must have been a
Steak.
fucking lie because it is gone. And I was like, this was like tying in between your accountability, Kyle, and I can't even now remember what you were talking about earlier, and that was like 10 minutes ago. Um,
Here's one
Fun
for you
fact,
then.
endo gives you brain fog, apparently. Makes a lot of sense.
There you go. So does having children, but yeah,
Yeah.
we're all in the same. We're on a level playing field now.
Yeah.
Um, Massive thing that we've,
Yes, Kyle.
yes, Kyle.
No, mate, you go on. I just had another subtopic I was going to bring, but you're already cracking on, so crack
No,
on.
no, you go for it. Go for it.
I think one of the other things, learning lessons for me, is you can have the same client but at two different periods of their life, and how they respond is very differently. And I've had it on both sides. I've had people come to me who have been nothing short of abysmal in terms of their journey to start off with and not been able to do the things. I have given all the help. I've literally had apologies from people going, look, I was going for a really tough time in my life. I threw money at it, hoping that would solve the issue, and in actual fact, I didn't do a fucking tap. And like they've come back and went, do you know what? I could see how it could work when I was in a place where I was ready to put in the work, and they've smashed it. But then I've also had the opposite, where people I've had on board, where I'm not saying life was less chaotic, but they're in a position where they were ready to do the work and they got great results. They left for a wee bit, but then came back, and all of a sudden, it's like they changed jobs, they had a few extra kids, they probably tried to continue doing the same thing and were probably stuck and going, oh, it was easy last time, why is it difficult this time? And it's like they're then banging their head against the wall, and like you can give them every solution in the world, but sometimes they keep themselves stuck. So I think if you've tried something before, doesn't necessarily mean it won't work again if you tried, like if their circumstances are different. And that kind of ties back to Gary's point as to like, yes, it's simple but not easy. It depends on your circumstances outside of it.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. The point that I was going to make was, and I'm sure we can all fucking relate to this one, is the basics are enough for you to get the results that you want to get. The thing that makes it hard to sell is because it's not sexy. Um, Keeping your calories in control, eating mostly whole nutritious foods, progressively overloading your exercises, no matter what split you're doing, focusing on your sleep, moving your body as much as you can in terms of steps, doing a little bit of zone 2 cardio on a weekly basis. That is literally 90% of the results. But because it doesn't sell well, that's when you get these absolute fucking weapons on social media trying to reinvent the wheel trying to come up with the next best thing or finding a secret hack to make this feel better. And, the basics work. And we use the basics every single fucking day when it comes to coaching.
You
You
ever seen
can't
Bird
talk.
Box?
Sorry,
You ever seen Bird Box?
I haven't, no.
Ah,
That's the
so
one where she's blind, is it?
So no, Bird Box is the one that like if you go out and you look at I think it's if you see the demons or whatever it is, they consume you. So it's like they have to make themselves blind so that they
Oh
don't see
yeah,
it.
Sandra something.
Bullock, yeah, Sandra
Yeah.
Bullock's it. Yeah. So the premise of that is like you can't go out and whatever, but if you see these demons, they whatever. From what I remember, that's what it is. But anyway, there's a meme in it where it's like at one point to kill somebody, they had to like literally squeeze their eyes open. There's people holding them hostage, but there's a really good picture of people like holding someone's eyes open. And I feel like that sometimes when you're trying to convince people that it's like it really is just down to your nutrition and your movement and your training. Like literally, it's that simple. But it's like you have to. I seen that great meme where it was like it was all these overweight middle-aged women and doing like as we discussed in our team meeting like a Zumba class or something, and it's like it's another week of middle-aged women doing anything but like to avoid the calorie deficit, and I'm like. It's 100% true, but then I seen one just to so it's not sounding sexist. I seen a one with like it was guys at a retreat doing this like praying thing or whatever. It's like
Alpha male screaming like wolves thing.
yeah, so I was literally like middle-aged guys will do anything to avoid therapy. And I'm like, it's 100% true. Middle-aged women will avoid anything, will do anything to avoid the calorie deficit, and middle-aged men will do anything to avoid therapy. But the point to that is, it really is as simple as like nobody wants to hear the fact that you know what it is actually you're eating, like because everybody doesn't think they eat that badly. So it's like it really is you're eating. The fact that you're not getting results is not down to you doing an extra set in the gym. Like the amount of times that I see people doing extra set, guys in particular, doing extra sets of bicep curls in the gym, thinking it's going to sort out their shape. I'm like, I actually lose count of the amount of times that people go, I had a really tough weekend, so I went to the gym hard on Monday. I'm like, piss in the pool. It literally is piss in the pool. Like, it's not going to make any difference. Be progressive with your training. Nutrition, literally, like, have you tried counting your calories? No. Oh yeah, but I'm going to go to I'm going to go to an extra class this week. Have you tried counting your calories? No, I'm going to go and do a cycle this week. Have you tried counting your calories? Fucking count your calories.
Yeah.
Grow
Yeah,
up.
yeah. It's honestly, it's a pet peeve of mine when somebody says, "Oh, I had a toast and just a wee bit of butter," and I'm like,
How much butter?
"How much butter? Just a wee bit. Did you weigh it? Nope. Then I don't believe you.
Yeah,
Don't believe you."
when you see people's food diaries and it's like it's like when you look for calorie leaks and they're talking about not losing weight and it's like you see oil, peanut butter, you've got jam, you've got pasta. I'm like, there's about 5 things there that are all. I'm not saying like good and bad foods. Don't want to turn it like that, but I'm like, it's very very easy if you're not weighing them accurately that you can
Yeah.
spill by hundreds of calories. And I can see that you're not going to like the answer and you don't believe it's that simple. But the fact is, you're probably having about 300 calories extra of pasta, 200 calories more of peanut butter, and probably a little bit of oil on top of that. So you're probably 700 calories a day, which is actually why you, Simon, that you're gaining weight and you don't want to hear
Yeah.
it, but that's exactly why.
It's when people weigh one tablespoon or 1 teaspoon of peanut butter, and I'm like, but what is that?
Mate,
That's what is
cups,
that?
cups, fucking cups
Yeah.
and tablespoons, mate. What?
Fuck. There was something I was going to say.
I actually
Yeah.
had someone try and call me out last night on my lovely sandwich, in case you didn't see it. It was stunning. Fucking 10 out of 10 sandwich. Because they were like, was it actually 15 grams of Nando sauce? And I was like, yeah, it was, because I fucking put the sandwich on a plate and put on the weighing scales and went, foo, 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 foo.
Yeah. A
Fuck
lot of my
me. Like, I'm not guessing it, lads. I will weigh it.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. A lot of my clients seem to use 10 grams of butter for 2 slices of toast, and I'm like, do you know how much 10 grams of butter would not cover that bread?
I mean, honestly, see when I put food plans together, I'm like, I'm putting at least 20 grams of butter on because I'm like 10 grams of butter. If I can go on, Shannon.
I do 15 grams of butter every day because I don't like it to be too buttery, but I don't like it to be too dry.
Is that on 2 slices of bread?
2 tin bagels.
That's thin
Right,
bagels.
right. Yeah, thin bagels is different from
Yeah.
2 full slices of a
Not
full.
bread,
Right,
like
yeah,
tin
yeah.
bagels.
10 grams is not covering 2 slices of toast. I'm telling you that right now. So straight away, you're
That's a
lying to
real
me.
for you.
But Mate, genuinely put a reel together and show the process of putting 10 grams of butter onto 2 Hovis bits of bread, mate. You will not get it done. Show the result of that, man. That is not touching the sides. If MD can do it, then fair play to you. But it's not the one. It's the same when like people are like, oh, you look at their food diaries and they're like, I had 200 calories of pasta. I'm like, do you know how little 200 grams of 200 calories of pasta actually is? I want to see your plate because there's no chance that there's 200 calories of pasta. Same with Cocoa Pops, they say it's a
30 grams is basically
mate,
serving.
you wouldn't get out of bed for 30 grams. 30 grams, honestly, you'd inhale that. There's not a chance.
For sure, for sure. Right, shall we do one more because I'm aware of the time?
Go on, Sam.
Oh,
Progress for clients.
Sorry, go on, sorry. Shannon, were you about to say something?
well, I just went ooh because of the time.
Oh, I thought you were doing ooh because you had the brainwave.
No, it's literally not coming back. And I was waiting for ages to get my moment to speak. And then by the time Gary goes, you ready? I was like, gone.
Shut yourself. Shut the bed.
Shot myself. Fucking Fifth Amendment here. It's gone unwillingly.
No, one more. And I think it's something that everybody listening can relate to because it's more so from the client's perspective, but it's obviously our job to point it out. Progress typically tends to be slower than the clients expect it, but also at the same time faster than they actually realise. They underestimate what they can do in a year, but seem to overestimate what can and should happen in 2 weeks.
3 weeks most.
We, as an industry, are guilty, though, of feeding into that. And sometimes it's a tough one because I'm aware it sells. Like, if I put AJ's transformation together and it's 60 kilos of him dropping weight, if I put the fact that that took 5 years on the thing, going 5-year transformation, like, I don't care who MD is, they're literally going, there's not a chance that I am
wasting that long doing it.
And nobody wants to hear it's 5 years. Like, if you're weighing 140 kilos and you know it's going to take you 5 years, 5 years is a long time, man. Like, and my justification to that is it's showing progress, and I don't particularly, you don't need to lose 60 kilos, you need to lose 5 kilos, you need to lose 10 kilos, and then you build on it. So that's where I would justify it. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know, because I know that you had somebody, Gary, who was like, I hate when people don't put timeframes on the things, but then I do that with some people. Like, for instance, Nicole McGran that came on board was like, she lost, I think, 6 kilos in like 6 weeks. She looked like she lost 15, and like her results looked class. But I'm like, she was exceptionally quick. Like, I've had other people who are exceptionally quick, and I've had other people that are exceptionally slow. But in terms of how it looks in their body transformation, some people can lose 5 kilos and they look like a different person. Some people can lose 5 kilos and like you don't see any difference. If anything, no, don't look worse ever. But like I was going to say, you just can't really tell. A massive difference looks smaller to start off with. So
I had Natalie, and within 12 weeks, she came in to just drop a wee bit of a weight. She was like, I think 6 kg down, and me and Kyle were like, fuck, she looks photo shoot ready. And within 12 weeks, she did her first photo shoot. That's not normal, though. Like, we've had people be in biofitness nearly 2 years before they've had a photo shoot.
So I think the realistic expectation is the fact that for most people it takes 6 months to see like a transformation, like jaw-dropping transformation. That's not to say you're not going to have massive positives before it. If it's just fat loss you're after, and let's say you only need to lose 10% of your body weight to start seeing visible definition, then yeah, 3 months is probably enough. But it does get to me sometimes when it's like, probably the frustration for me, Shannon, is when you say about people who've been in it and they've done a great job and like they're then leaving. My frustration is like, I'll always see the different levels of what people can go to, and when somebody like loses the initial 5 to 10 kilos, I'm like, do you know what? See, by another couple of months under you, you don't know how good you could look and feel. Yeah. That's what gets to me sometimes. I'm like, from a really selfish standpoint, I would love you to stay, because I'm like, this is the point where it could be really, really life-changing. I'm like, I love to see what we could do. I understand people's reasons for not, but at the same time, I'm like, I do get that part of me going, oh, if we just gave it that extra wee bit of time.
Let's just not go on a break yet. Let's just see what we can do.
I'd love to, but I'm not going to lie. People need to want it themselves for that. And being honest, for the years I have done things where I'm like, oh, if you stay for another month, I'll give it free just because I want to see how far you get. But then I'm like, sometimes and more often than not, when it happens, they were checked out. Like they've literally
Yeah.
gone now. I've got myself where I'm comfortable with, and people's different levels of comfort are different. Like again, you can't coach everybody like you. When I started losing a bit of body fat and started seeing more definition, I was like, I want to see how far I can go. I want to do like a photo shoot and everything else. Lots of people don't want that, and it takes longer. Like again, if I said to people it takes a year for you to look and feel how you really want to look and feel, if they see a picture of Gary or Niall or somebody, I'm like, they've been training fairly consistently for a long time. Like they have muscle, you can lose body fat, but realistically, are you going to put on the level of muscle that they have? Like Sean as well. Like if you're going to put on the level of muscle. Like Sean trained for 2 solid years really before doing that photo shoot, and the amount of muscle he put on is great. But like if people are looking at that over a 3 month period and going, can I do that in 3 months? I'm going, no. The answer's genuinely not. Like unless you come from a background where you've been doing strength training, powerlifting, whatever, like it's going to take you 2 years, really.
Preach.
Yep.
Yeah, shall we wrap it up there? Because I think we covered a good, maybe 6 or 7 very good points here about
Yes.
what we've learned. Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. As I said at the start of the pod, thank you for being on this journey with us. Here's to the next 100 episodes.
100.
Thank you, Dave and Toby, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.